Oh shit, about lost it there.
What is going on, guys? I'm in a great mood. The YJ's back in the garage. Just got back from the Christmas party and it is time to do some wrenching on this Jeep.
Ooh, that was almost a knuckle.
I'm just kidding, I ain't fucking licking that.
Daddy needs a new set of ratcheting wrenches for Christmas because doing it this way I feel like a damn peasant. Tell you what, guys, I ain't had this much fun since the hogs ate my baby brother. Meant to do that.
It kind of look like it's really cold outside.
It's kind of crunchy sounding too.
Whoops. This is something that 2017 Dan did, and 2022 Dan does not approve of this. So if you saw a recent episode, you know this thing sounds like death. Like the power steering pump's gonna leave the chat when I start it up. So luckily I have a spare one. We're gonna dive right into that. Well, I thought I was. Let me show you something though. So this came from a Jeep that got parted out long ago, and as far as I know, this pump is good. Well, I thought it was, but look at this pulley. See how dented up the edge of it is? And it looks like we got a crack on it too. So this one ain't gonna work. Now I could pull my pulley off because it's got the one with the holes in it, but I don't have that puller tool. So luckily right out in the driveway I have a spare 4.0 engine, and there's another power steering pump on that. So tomorrow when it's light out, I'll take you out there and we'll pull that off. But for now we can go ahead and get this one pulled off of here and we can work on something else. So this is a spare crankshaft position sensor. The last time I went wheeling, it just kept dying on me. And that's usually a telltale sign that either this is bad or that ignition coil that you can't see down there is bad. So since I have a spare one of these, we're just gonna try it out and see what happens. Now, if you're ever going to get a spare one of these, you want to take care that you get the right one, because I think just on the YJ alone, there's like 3 or maybe even 4 different ones. The main 2 differences, some of them only have 1 wing and 1 bolt, and that's actually what this Jeep had on it. But when I switched to the AW4 transmission, it has the provision for the 2-bolt one, so that's what we have here. The other difference is this plug. Some of them have this 3-pronger, some of them have, I think it's a 4-pronger. It's a little bit different. So you got to make sure you get the right plug and the right wings or whatever. So the sad thing about this is kind of a cheap Amazon, like a really cheap one, so the chances are likely that I'm going to put this in there and still have problems. That's kind of the part number, at least for this specific one, but most of you with YJs actually probably need the one with 1 wing. Not sure about manual transmissions, but like I said, there's a bunch of them. This thing is not very fun to get to if you've never done it. It is way down here, basically on the top of the bell housing. At least for my Jeep, it's way easier to get down there, reach up underneath, and you can reach it with one of these guys. And if you got a swivel or whatever this thing's called, bonus points to you, because that's gonna make your life easier. Well, good news, guys, a bunch of people were asking me when I was gonna get more stickers, and I got a boatload of them. So I do have these available. There's just gonna be a little eBay link down in the description because I don't have my website ready yet, but that's coming soon too. So go get you one before they're gone. All right, so for the next few scenes, we're switching to a new camera that I got. It's a DJI Action 3. So let me know how it looks and how it sounds. It's a little easier to get this thing up under the Jeep. All right, so here we go up underneath. Pay no attention to the massive rear main seal leak and other various leaks I got going on down here. Not sure how well you can see this, but there is the crankshaft sensor right there with the 2 bolts. So let's get after it. It's a little tricky to do one-handed. So, you know, while I'm sitting here trying to get this bolt out, right here is my homemade shifter linkage, since this AW4 transmission used a cable shifter, but I had the column shifter, so I adapted it. And the last time I went wheeling, I banged up something pretty good, and now the shifter's like way off. So when I put it into neutral, I'm actually in drive, like if you look at the needle on the column. So something came out of adjustment or got bent, so maybe we'll take a look at that too. There's one. I don't know what's going on with this other one. I sat there and spun it and it's just spinning. What in the hell?
Oh yeah, there's a little inspection cover thing that kind of goes over it so you can look down in there. But I don't get why this gall dang bolt ain't coming out. Man, that thing is covered in oil. I bet you that's the problem. That's not good. I hope my torque converter's not leaking or something. Alright guys, I figured out what's going on. I forgot that this bolt here, the one that just keeps spinning, that if you reach around back here, there's actually a nut on the back side. I don't remember if that's how it came or if it's because those holes are stripped and so I just put a nut on the back side. But now I gotta try to fish what feels like a 7/16 up in there and try to hold a wrench on it and get it out. So I've enlisted the help of one of my tools from work, the good old AC Delco. Oh yeah, that's money. Oh no, my battery died, but I think the nut just came off. Let's see if she'll give me one more trigger pull to get her out of there. Jesus Christ, that's a long bolt. Maybe that's why. Maybe my threads went clean through the threads and it was just on this non-threaded part. Maybe I need a new bolt. So the reason that probably had the nut on it, that boss was threaded, but this damn thing is only threaded about halfway up, so I probably just ran the threads through and then it just pokes through and has to get nutted. See if I've got a 1/4" bolt with threads all the way up it, because this is something that 2017 Dan did, and 2022 Dan does not approve of this. I said it before, I'll say it again. If y'all ain't got yourself a bonus bolt then, you're missing out. Well, what do you know? She's a little bit short, but it is threaded all the way up, and if that actually bites into the boss, I don't need that extra little bit. That was just to be able to have that nut on there. The bolt bin of death is coming through clutch again. If y'all are wondering what that obnoxious ass noise is, sometimes you'll hear just my heater, and sometimes you'll hear that fan up there, because if I don't run that fan pointed down here, all my heat just goes up there into the second deck, and it stays freezing down here. If you look back here at the back of the engine, I believe this little jobber right here is the one. There's a little clamp on one of those intake bolts, and there is the plug right there. And there she is, and there you can see that's the style plug that my YJ takes. But some of them are different. So there's the side-by-side comparison. This one is quite oily, and I'm really hoping that's just that rear main leak that's just kind of flinging up there, and that it's not a front, like a front pump seal on my transmission. See if I can smell it and tell.
Oh, that's nasty.
I'm just kidding, I ain't fucking licking that. No, I can't tell. Gotta love tires that stick out past the fenders. It makes a nice little work platform. We'll just kind of fling her down there like we're going ice fishing. Luckily, this thing can only go one way, so you really can't fuck it up. Well, I don't want to say that. We live in a world full of special individuals. I'm sure someone can find a way. Dang, that is a tight fit. That ain't going nowhere. By the way, guys, if you want to check one of these out, I want to say this was somewhere around 150 bucks. It is brushless, and it is a kick-ass tool. I didn't know AC Delco made power tools. These are the little batteries that go with it. I don't know if they fit anything else. They kind of look like it's really cold outside. But I can promise you, it saved me way more than 150 bucks worth of aggravation, especially at work. So I'll leave a link to this down in the video description. We're gonna go ahead and pop this cover back in. There we go. And we're gonna drop our little sensor in there. Tell you what, guys, I ain't had this much fun since the hogs ate my baby brother. Now let's see if our bolt's gonna thread into that, or if we gotta go back to the old one. Oh yeah, there's definitely some threads there. Look at this. This is the bolt from the top one. It's like a shoulder bolt. I don't know if that's what came with it or if that's just what I found at the time when I did this swap. As you can see, we're just spinning there, so we definitely need that one with the nut on the back. God dang it. I guess that's why 2017 Dan put that nut on there. Oh, she's tight. I did find another new, longer bolt that was not all corroded. There's just enough threads in there for it to spin, but just enough for it to not get tight. Oh, I gotta find that nut. Now, I know y'all can't see me right now, but I can promise you that my tongue is going to be hanging out of my mouth so that I can get this invisible nut bolt on there, because I cannot see shit. Oh yeah, she's on. I do not know the torque value for this, but you are going into an aluminum bell housing, so... Oh yeah, that's plenty tight.
Before I pull that power steering pump off of there, let's see if she fires up. And hey, pay attention, because you might hear that pump doing its whine thing. Honestly, I have no freaking clue what that is. I think it's the pump, but it just sounds like it's coming from everywhere. Hell, you probably can't even hear me over that. The thing is, it usually goes away after... Oh, sorry, that was loud. It usually goes away after it's been running for a little bit, and when this first started, it was a lot fainter, and now it's like really loud. But even now, if I drove for 2 minutes, it would be gone and it would sound fine. So I don't know how big of a deal it is, but it's just one of them things. I don't want to throw this thing on a trailer and drive a couple hours to go wheeling and then have it lock up on me or something, so it's coming off. Alright, so if you've never messed with one of these YJs before, the way you tension the belt is actually through the power steering pump. There's a bunch of bolts on here, but you don't have to loosen them all. I think it pivots on this one. I don't even know which one it pivots on. I just got to get in here and mess with it, to be honest with you. There's one down underneath. And then there's this one, which you run it in and out to loosen and tighten it, but it has to be able to pivot. And I think it swings on this one. Oh boy. So we're gonna loosen that guy. These ones that are down in there just hold the pump to that bracket, so they don't matter right this second. So we gotta get this one that's down underneath loosened so that the dingle hopper can slide. Ooh, that was almost a knuckle. Daddy needs a new set of ratcheting wrenches for Christmas, because doing it this way I feel like a damn peasant. But all my ratcheting wrenches are at work. And then I believe this one on the back has to come all the way out. Of course I can't get my electric jobber on there, so we're going to have to do this one like a peasant too. And there she goes. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I can just run that one in and it should loosen it. I just don't remember if I missed any or not. Oh yeah, she's too tight for this thing. By the way, this is my favorite ratchet, and I found it on an interstate on-ramp. I was turning a corner to get on the interstate on my way to work. Saw something that I about ran over, pulled over real quick, and it's just a Master Force, which I think is like O'Reilly's brand, but man, this thing has got some teeth count. A little banged up from the road, but I'll tell you what. It's like my favorite home ratchet now. Something's not right here. A little bit of lube on them threads never hurt no one. Oh man, clearly I gotta loosen something else still. Meant to do that. Yeah, this isn't working right because it's just bringing the bolt out instead of letting the pump slide in, so I gotta get something else loose. Just don't remember what. Aha! Found it. So I was right about removing this one, but there's another one with a slider on the bottom that I forgot about on the back. Stand by. So I'm just trying to loosen this enough to be able to get the belt off, and then we'll start disassembling the other shit. But I actually kind of want to take the belt off and then just go start this again and cross my fingers that that noise doesn't happen.
Ooh, hear that? Probably should get a new idler. Ooh, that's the alternator. That's kind of crunchy sounding too. But guess what? I've got 2 spare alternators also. I'm gonna go start it and see what it sounds like. Oh yeah, no whining now. Yeah, so that noise is either in the crunchy alternator or in that power steering pump. What do you say we just change both since I got spares laying around? Well, I'm gonna try to do this without losing all of my fluid out of my reservoir. It's pretty easy to get the hose off of that end, but this end has the factory metal clamp on it, and I don't know if this will work off of there easy. So what I think I'm going to do is finish unbolting this and like bring it up as high as I can get it, and then try to get that off of there. And then I've got the zip tie rigged up around my reservoir here to try to maybe hold that hose up. I mean, I'm going to lose fluid no matter what. It's going to drip on my axle and stuff no matter what, but the more I can mitigate, the better. Alright, there she is. Now some of you may remember back to my Hydro Assist video, this little bushing actually threads out of here and it has a metered hole down in there. And if you remember, I drilled this out slightly bigger. It's called the West Texas Pump Mod, and it's supposed to allow more volume of fluid to get to your Hydro Assist ram without diminishing the pressure too much. But I'm starting to wonder if that's not what this whining's all about, because it was around that time that I first started hearing the whining. But anyway, it's after midnight, it's cold and windy outside, so we're gonna call it for a night, and tomorrow we'll go out there and we're gonna harvest that other pump and this idler. So we're gonna see about harvesting one of them also, but I do have another alternator right there. So we'll be back on her in the morning. Well, it's the next morning and I just pulled the cover back on my spare engine here. So for starters, we're missing the idler pulley. This one's broken also. And this alternator sounds a little crunchy too, but not too bad. So I guess I'm gonna have to just get some parts.
Later.
Alright, I grabbed some stuff from the parts store. We got a new pulley, and I went ahead and grabbed, this is the little rental tool kit. Although they gave me a brand new one and it was cheap enough, I might just keep it. But it's got the little collar bobber dealy that you put around this and pull the pulley off. So now we can get that pulley off and put it on that pump. There's different sizes of these also, so make sure you match these up if you're ever going to get one. And also make sure that you have this, because it did not come with it, but you need that to go in there in order for this to work right. Well, it's been a while since I've used one of these guys, but I'm pretty sure you put this clamshell around that guy. You drop this in there, like so, and then you drop that over that. Kind of looks like it's bottomed all the way on there. By the way, I was not going full trigger on that. I just barely was doing it because I didn't want to hit it too hard, but it did the trick. This pump, I literally pulled it out of my buddy's scrap pile, and it was actually in a Jeep that got flooded, so I probably shouldn't even be using it, but it seems fine, so we're gonna fucking send it. Try to give you guys a better view on this one. So there's two different sides to that. That side with the bigger lip goes under there, and you drop this guy in there. Now before I drop that pulley on there, you can actually see the bracket that was on this new used pump is bent. That bolt's removed. Those two aren't, so I have to
steal that bracket and everything and get it on there first. Seems to be working. I'd say it's looking pretty good. So I think... Oh, shit. About lost it there. I think what I'm going to do is actually leave this orifice alone this time instead of drilling it out. And then I'm just going to see if there's any noticeable change in my steering. And if it's noticeably slower, then I'll just pop it back open and drill it out. Because it literally only took me like 4 minutes to pull it out, drill it, clean it, put it back in, and then just really quick bleed the fluid. So because I thought that had something to do with why my pump started whining, I'm just going to leave it as it is and see how it works. Let's throw it back in. We're not gonna tighten that yet though. My little zip tie trick did a good job of not letting all this fluid spill out of there. Make sure there's an O-ring on there. You just want to make sure it's still in position. Get her good and tight. Get her out of our zip tie here. Drop that on there. I'm inevitably gonna spill a little bit trying to get this on there, but oh man, this thing is no. This tube is pointed straight down on this pump, and mine was pointed this way. So this must be off of a TJ or something different. You know what? It was off of a TJ. Shit. This one's pointed out at an angle, and the one I'm working with is pointed straight down. Well, it's on there. Oh boy. Hands are so damn greasy now, I can't get this tight. Here's my spare alternator, and I showed you the one out on the engine outside earlier, and all three of them sound exactly the same. They all have just a wee bit of noise in them, so there's really no point in me pulling this one off just to switch to one of these two that sound the exact same way. Another reason I don't want to go out and buy a new one is because I am actually thinking about doing the Premier Power Welder, which comes with like a super upgraded alternator so that you can run a welder out of your Jeep. So at this point, I think we are just going to slap this pig back together. Let's see if I can't remember how to get this back on without having to look at the pretty picture. Ooh, taking you guys for a ride. I believe this goes like that under the idler. Bingo bango. You know, one of the things I've always struggled with on these damn things is how tight to tighten this belt, because it seemed like no matter what I would do, I would get chirping. And I actually have one of those Cricut belt tensioner gauge things, and they don't work worth a damn. So I think I'm just gonna go on this long run and go for like a 1/2 inch of deflection, and we'll give that a try. Oh yeah, that's pretty effing tight. Alright, it's all back together. Let's see if that whine goes away. Hell yeah, sounds minty fresh to me, boys! Looks like this thing should be good to go for my snow run, which is January 7th. And if any of you guys are local to Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin area, and Dubuque, Iowa is within your driving distance, and you want to do some snow wheeling with me, hit me up and I'll get you the information you need. It is private property, but as long as I say you're with me, you're good to go. So I'm going to quickly clue you guys in on a couple of other videos I got coming up the line. I mentioned this CAD thing and my 4-wheel drive light. It's not a game changer, but I got the stuff, I want to get it done. I actually found an alternative to that Maxi Track air compressor, the one that Dirt Lifestyle did videos on, the one that was really cheap from Napa. It's a dual piston 300 liter per minute air compressor that's supposed to be, you know, way faster than most electric compressors. And it's been impossible to get for the last year. Like, as soon as the off-road guys figured it out, you can't get it. Well, I had this Amazon company, they wanted to send me a compressor, and I told them not to bother unless they designed and developed a dual piston one. And you know what they did? About 4 months later, they emailed me back and they said, well, we made it just like you wanted, here you go. So I've got one of those coming in the mail, and I'm actually going to compare it to a Maxi Track. I'm looking for somebody that has one that I can borrow so I can do air compressor races. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. I had a lot of fun making this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget the stickers. Whoops. That's what they look like. There's going to be a link down below in the video description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you in the next one, guys.